Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
And I'm John Thomas. If it's haunted, cursed, or just plain weird, I'm into it. From paranormal encounters to horror movie deep dives, urban legends, cryptids, count me in.
I'm BJ Sewura, an aspiring paranormal musician who plays live for the dead because the living just doesn't want to hear me.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and metapals? In today's episode, we'll be discussing soul healing with Tamoah Burton. Welcome, Tamoah.
Hi, Ashley and John and BJ.
Hello.
Hello.
Very nice to have you on. It's exciting. We had connected to get you scheduled to be on the podcast, and you sent your website over, and so I've been all over your website, and it's soulcompact.com.
Yes.
And I absolutely love it. The first thing that stood out for me were the cherry blossoms.
Isn't it nice? And all the meaning that a cherry blossom has. I love it.
I also see it behind you in screen right now.
It's my logo, and they're with me.
Now, when did you first become connected to cherry blossoms and like the image of what they represent?
Well, the fun fact is, the first thing that pops up now is my mom passed last year, and I took some of her ashes. I mean, we're 3 daughters, so I took my part of ashes with me, and I was thinking, where shall I? I want to plant it with a tree. What tree shall I plant with it? So I went out to a, how you call this? Is it a garden store,
like a
whatever?
nursery garden.
A nursery, exactly, a nursery. And I was just looking through, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's take sour cherries. And I didn't click. It didn't dawn on me. So here I am with my pot and my soil and the ashes and the sour cherry tree, and I plant it all, and then I look at it, and then I'm like, oh my God, the cherry blossoms again. They are just with me, even without me thinking of it consciously. So they came into my life years ago. I lived in a place where we had, in that patio, we had a huge cherry tree. And each spring, again, these beautiful, beautiful cherry blossoms. And it was just there. It was just there. And I never really thought about the meaning or what else we can see in the cherry blossoms till I sat down and I decided, when I moved to Canada a few years ago, to go away from hands-on work and in-person work, and I have an online business. And I thought, okay, I'm reinventing myself. It's not my language, English, obviously, but my audience is in English, speaks English, and a new name and a new everything. So I thought, okay, what's the logo? What's the logo? What's the logo? And it just popped up, and I looked into it. What's the meaning? What else? And yeah, the rest is history, as they say.
For you, when you think about and you feel the idea of the cherry blossoms, what's the first thing that to you resonates? What do they mean to you most?
The first thing that comes up is their beauty, but it's not lasting. They come and they go. And they're beautiful when they come. And it's beautiful when they lay on the ground, right? When the white petals or the pinkish petals lay on the ground. And that is the one meaning, right? We come and we go, physically. But the energy, the cherry tree is always there. It's just the blossom that comes and goes. And if there wouldn't be a blossom, there wouldn't be the cherry. And, so that is the first thing that pops up.
I've always had a connection with the cherry blossoms myself. I lived in Japan for a while, and they had, like a festival, and you just kind of go out and hang out at the park and, have fun with everybody. You just kind of share time together. And it was such a great experience. And I just loved being around them. I just wish we had more here,
Even the word sakura in Japan is so beautiful, isn't it? It sounds so poetic somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they also have healing properties. If you would make a tea out of the cherry blossoms, like I don't know, Ashley, how about you? How old you are? But in my age, it's like let's age with grace. And the cherry blossoms, the tea is having anti-aging properties. So I'm like, wow. I mean, this cherry blossom, this logo that I chose, represents so many things that I do for in my work. Like now I decided, since I am in that age, I'm going to concentrate on middle-aged women to help them get through this transition. And as a medium, as an Akashic Records reader, and as a transformational and a healing medium, everything that these cherry blossoms represents comes through in my work.
Oh, you're speaking directly to me. I turned 40 this year, so
40?
40.
Aw, that's so young.
No, I will drink all the cherry blossoms now. When did you first start working within the metaphysical realm, like with the Akashic records and as a medium?
It all came gradually. When I was a kid, there were certain things that I just thought that's normal. There were phases where I knew what somebody's going to say or I knew what's going to happen. But for me, that was normal, and I didn't really talk about this. I just was a fact. And how shall I say? When I was, I don't know, 11, 12, or 13, I had a face paralysis. Half my face was paralyzed. And that was the first time I got in touch how powerful Mother Nature is to heal. Like my mother, she had heard of a monk who would heal people with cabbage leaves and olive oil. And so there she was with olive oil in my face and a cabbage leaf at night. And as a puberty girl, I'm like, what in the world is my mother doing with me? Am I a rabbit? What's going on? But that heals is in the right, and I was healing from this situation quite quickly, and I never realized how serious the whole thing was till I was in my doctor's office, and it was Christmas time, and I heard him through all the doors that were open speaking. I grew up in Switzerland, so he was on the phone with the university hospital in Zurich, and we live in the Alps, so that for me as a child, that was a big trip to get to Zurich. And I realized the guy talks about me. Then I realized, oh my God, that was serious what I'm having. And he comes out and he looks at me and he says, oh my God, you look so much better. What did you guys do? Because there is no real cure. And he said, whatever it is, because my mom didn't really want to say what she did because it would sound ridiculous or weird, to say the least. He says, whatever that is that you guys are doing, keep on doing it. I can go and cancel the appointment I have for you for surgery in Zurich. And only then I realized, wow, cabbage leaf and olive oil can do so much. So at this young age, I started diving into natural healing and Mother Nature's apothecary. And was it the 90s? Reiki was a big thing in Europe. So I thought, when people started asking me, hey, you know so much about all these kind of things. What do you think about Reiki? I'm like, this must be bullshit. Let's go take a course and convince myself what BS that is. So here I was, and I actually felt energy flow through my hands. I really felt something going on, and I'm like, what's happening? And those people I worked with, they said, my God, when you touched my liver, it was just like a lightning going through my body. And I'm like, what's going on? And other people had feedbacks like this, so I was like, oh, okay, there is more to the body, right? There is energy, and I can feel it, and something happens when I touch people with it. So that was actually the beginning how I started to work consciously with energy. Before that, it was just, I can feel things, but and even people told me, hey, you're a born medium, you should look into this. And I'm like, I'm not interested. No. And universe got really pushy with me, especially when my daughter died, my baby daughter. It was really, now if I look back, it was just like, hey, pushing me into mediumship, and I was just shutting all the doors. I said, no, no, absolutely, I am pissed off, to say the least. So I closed all the doors that were kind of opening because I thought, no, this is just too much. And then universe pushed me into burnouts and into, I mean, everything nasty, name it. I probably went through it till I, how shall I say? It was like through all these hardships that I went through, there was just like the question coming up, well, what if there is more? What if I would open up again? What if her death wasn't just a coincidence or just for nothing? Just so today, decades later, if I look back, this stubborn me, you can, instead of going with the flow, I was just like so not willing to, I don't know how to call it. But yeah, so when I finally opened up again to it and realized that my gifts are have been there all the time, just waiting for me to just put my focus on it. And I'm like, my God, did I waste so many years of my life, or was it meant to be that I went through all of this? Because, as they say, the best healer is the one that went through all the bullshit himself or herself. So she or he knows what the client is really going through, and not just has knowledge out of a book or something. So no, I went through it all myself and got myself out myself. I put my pieces together, and today I am in touch with my daughter. I am in touch with my mother. It's a different level that I can communicate with them. Of course, as a human being, you miss the physical bodies or you miss the interaction. But like in the case of my mom, I have a better relationship with her now that she's dead than when she was alive. So it's it's life is interesting and life is a game, right? Nobody gets out of it alive. So I have that as my I don't want to say mantra, but we have in our lives moments where we can look at things way too serious or way too hopeless. And if you think like, okay, life is a game, nobody gets out of it alive, take a little step back and look at it from the distance, and then you have a different perspective. So it came gradually, step by step. The thing is also, I travel a lot, and I was once in, what was it, Scotland, and I was at the Culloden battlefield. So there in a coffee shop, just having my drink, whatever it was. And always when I have this notch in my solar plex, it's just like, what the heck? Then I know, okay, tune in, what's going on? And I was like, oh my God, I know Culloden battlefield, the name already says it all. But I really saw that so many of them were stuck in time. They were still in this battle. So just walked through this field and I stood there and I thought, okay, whoever of you guys wants to listen and is ready to move on, I'm here to help. So I was there for a while and I did that. Or I was in Havana or somewhere in Cuba, I'm not sure anymore. And there was me and my son, we went into this ruin of a fortress. I go in, again, I have the notch in my solar plex. I'm like, okay, let's tune in. What's going on here? And it's just ugly stuff. The pirates were not very gentle people. So also here, I helped those souls to move on. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe I could go in and train it a little bit more and learn more about what I can actually consciously do instead of just sitting here and putting souls into the light, which is cool, but there is so much more that you can do.
Now, when you say research and learn more about it to train, how did you learn more and train more? Did you have resources that you went to, or was this something you kind of developed intuitively?
Both. So I took a lot of courses. Like I studied Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, God knows, name it. I probably have studied or learned about it. And there was a day I thought, oh my God, I have spent so much money on learning all sorts of things that I'm still fascinated about. But I am actually done spending money. Would be cool if I could just participate for free. So here I go online. I don't know. I'm not sure anymore what I was searching, but all of a sudden there was an organization that we have in Basel in Switzerland that organizes it's not only metaphysical, but like mediums from over the world come and teach, and whoever has a name, like Neil Donald Walsh comes, Dr. Joe is there, like Eckhart Tolle comes. Like they really organize big events and also smaller events. But they were looking for volunteers. And I'm like, hey, look at that. So I signed up as volunteer. And as of that day on, I would meet all these famous and great people, but I didn't have to pay for it anymore. I was there as a volunteer, and I was helping that this event went great. I'm like, cool, that's nice. I love that. So I was volunteering with Gordon Smith. I don't know if you've heard of him, from Scotland. He's quite a famous medium in Scotland. He comes to Basel quite often. Or there's a Swiss medium called Pascal Fockenhuber. He was quite famous when he was younger. I think he still is. But anyway, so I was with all these mediums there. Some came for a weekend, some came for a whole week. And I was learning from them because I was there and I was helping running these workshops or the whole intensive week or whatever. So, and I learned from all of them, and it was, everybody has a little different approach. And at the end of the day, you have to make your own, right? So, and also here in Canada, we have quite a famous medium called Sean Leonard. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Sean Leonard, he is part Mi'kmaq, and he also wrote a book and has some cards out there. So I thought, hey, I live in Canada now. Let's connect to see if I've meet like-minded people. So I signed up for his program that he has as well. So once in a year in Halifax, everybody comes together, which is also cool. The Spirit Talker Tribe. But at the end of the day, I thought, hey, there's nothing that I really learn new anymore, because in the past I learned from all these big names in Europe. But then I realized when I tune in to give messages, it's always about health. Like that, the message comes, hey, tell such and such to have the belly checked out, or to look at this, or to look at that. And I'm like, this is no coincidence anymore. It keeps on repeating itself. It's always health related, that the other person says, oh, yeah, you're right. I do have an issue there. Okay, I'm going to go and have it checked out, for instance. And the next thing that creeped me out was when past loved ones, like a lot of people think, okay, you die and you move on, and that, all is good, hanky dory, all is fine. But some people, they might get stuck. So the first time this happened, where a loved one that had passed from a client came through and asking me for healing for him because he was stuck. But he wanted permission from the client to be allowed to move on, because he had put himself in purgatory. He had put himself there because he had taken his own life, and his oldest child had found him. And his oldest child went through a lot of psychological problems because of that, and he couldn't forgive himself. So he was stuck, totally stuck. And now that was a new one for me. I'm like, whoa, wow. So it's not only the living that I can help for health. Now it's also the dead that ask for help for their health, right? Or for being able to move on. And it was so extreme, because as a medium, you can feel their feelings. You can feel their emotional pain. So here I was sitting and bawling my eyes out. It was so extreme. And the lady who was sitting on the other side of Zoom, she was just like, she couldn't close her mouth. It was just like, whoa, what's happening? What's going on? This is amazing. So I helped him with the forgiveness of her as the substitute for her family. And the moment he could move on, that was so beautiful. And I also felt that again. So all this emotional pain now was gone, and this beauty that you cannot describe, this, yeah, almost bliss was, yeah, that was amazing. And this happened again and again. So I'm like, wow, okay. So apparently I'm a healing medium. You know, there are so many different kinds of mediums out there. I'm like, okay, I seem to be a healing medium or a transformational medium, because what comes through helps transform something for the better, or for health, or for whatever it is that the person needs.
Do you think that the people that need help crossing, like, are they held there because of the loved ones that won't let them go? Is that what it is? Or is it like something that they have to figure out together? Or
So this few cases that I had was they were stuck because of their own belief. Like if you believe in purgatory and you know, okay, I took my life according to what I was conditioned during my lifetime. When you take your own life, you are, you know, you're not being treated nice over there on the other side. You go to hell, you go what the God knows what. So if this is what you believe, it's your own thought patterns that keep you stuck, you know. So in the case that I just mentioned before, all he needed was the forgiveness from this lady and a little bit of help from my side to be able to move on and to forgive himself, you know. For him to, how shall I explain this, for him to allow himself and forgive himself and to be able to see what's around him, who else is there that can help him to move on. Now the other case that you mentioned, people that are alive that keep somebody who passed stuck, right? Did I understand this right? I have not come across that situation, but then again, everything is possible.
It's almost like with the gentleman that passed, because his beliefs were so strong on what would happen to him because he took his own life, he created his own purgatory. And yet part of him almost knew that that wasn't the space that he needed to stay in. So it's interesting, he was able to connect through his loved one to you to be able to heal through that.
Yeah. And he has been in there for decades. It's not something that happened just last week. You know, that was years ago that he was stuck there.
You mentioned that through mediumship, you're able to have a relationship with your daughter and your mother that have passed on. So, for each one, given the grief from losing them that you carried, what was that first experience like when you realized you were connecting to them for the first time?
With my daughter, I'm a mess, bawling my eyes out. Just, there's no words. And I'm just like, when is it going to stop? You know, when can my mother heart accept? Well, I did accept that she died. It took me a long time though. But I did finally accept that she died and she passed before me, despite being a baby. And it also depends, you know, Ashley, we have hormones, right? Depends how those guys are doing that day. So if I have a super stable day and I am hunky dory, and she pops up, or I actually want to go in and visit her, then I'm good. We have a great time. But if I'm not having a good day, then it's just waterworks. With my mother, on the other hand, it's interesting conversations.
With the first time that you connected to your daughter, were you trying to reach out and connect to her, or did she come to you?
Yeah, she came to me.
Yeah, I'd be a mess.
Yeah. Especially when it is unexpected, you know, I can tell when the energy shifts and I'm like, oh, okay, who's here? And then it's when it's her, it goes right to my heart, right? It's just right, this feeling of there's so much time that we couldn't spend together on this lifetime. Like now you will be turning 30 this year, right? Would I be a grandma? You know, all these questions and thoughts that are at the end of the day coming from the self-pityness, right? If we are really brutal and honest to ourselves. But it's all right. It's We're human. So I do allow myself to bathe in self-pityness for a while, right? And get my shit together again. And appreciate that I do have this connection with her still. You know, that I'm able to have this connection, that I am able to have her input or her wisdom coming through, right? So, yeah, it is getting less and less, I must say, but it's we're being human. So why should we not act like humans?
Right.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in not wanting to be emotional, we almost forget that's actually an important part of the process, feeling those emotions.
Any emotion that you suppress is a potential ticking time bomb for any sickness you don't want to have, any nasty stuff. So emotions are so, so important to not bury under the carpet, but to let them out, look at them, transform them if possible, make peace with your biography, you know. But still, once in a while, if they come up again, then it's okay. I mean, like when I after she passed, I started to study Chinese medicine just to kill time, and later Ayurvedic psychology. And I remember one teacher. We did we did some work on ourselves, and I was bawling my eyes out. And she says, "Why are you so hard on yourself? Why do you think you have to process or digest her death? It's part of your biography." And I was sitting with those words and I'm like, oh my God, that's true. Why do I think I have to process it and be fine and talk about it like I'm a journalist, you know? It is part of my biography. It is painful. It's the worst thing that a mother can go through. So I realized, oh, I was too hard on myself. I had this expectation of myself, so I no longer have it. Which again, the studies were decades ago, and how many people are so hard on themselves and don't even realize that they are? But if you allow yourself to go into your softness, doesn't mean that you're weak. It's just your energy and your body can flow better, because if you are hardening up, you put the grounds for so many sicknesses that are not needed to have if you would allow yourself to be soft in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about scars and how oftentimes people want to hide their scars or they're embarrassed of their scars. Like they want to cover it up and not show the world. And it's that idea, like you said, that like that's part of your biography, that's part of your life journey. And who we are right now is exactly that because of the scars, because of what we've gone through.
Absolutely.
You said that you have a different relationship with your mother than you did when she was alive. Did she believe? Did she obviously she helped heal you in when you were younger? Did she support what you were doing? And now that she's passed, does she look at what you're doing now and like smile and
You know, my mom was brought up super, super Catholic, right? So, I mean, brainwashed Catholic, let's call it. And I was the rebel. I quit church the moment I could. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What is this? This is, something is not right. No offense, anyone who is listening. But so as long as it was body work from Ayurvedic massages or from the Chinese medicine, acupressure or something, she was fine. She knew what that was. But if I would start talking about mediumship, she was just like, pfft. So I couldn't talk about these kind of things with anyone in my family though. But when she died, she kind of knocked on my door saying, I don't know what's going on. What's happening to me? Like, I'm Canada and she was obviously in Switzerland, and I received this phone call early in the morning, and through that night I woke up once and I'm like, what's going on here? Something is weird. So I got this phone call that my mom passed, and it was absolutely unexpected. So I immediately tuned in saying, what's going on? And she was there saying, what's happening to me? I don't get it. What's going on here? And I said, well, mom, you died. She says, what? She was in disbelief. It was almost comical. So I kind of helped her to move on, right? To kind of say goodbye to this body, and move on. And it was beautiful. But, the words that she said were exactly the way how she would speak. Only she would say a sentence the way how she said it, because my mother tongue is Romanish, which is a very old Latin language. Like maybe in Switzerland we have 4 languages, and that's the fourth, a minority language. So there was certain words that only she would say in that language, nobody else that I know. So it made me almost laugh because it sounded so funny. And her like, what's going on? What's happening to me? I don't get it. Was like this surprise of this surprise death that nobody expected, even she didn't. That yeah, it's also for me, each time I work with somebody, it's a new experience. Everybody's individual, and it's I love it, especially when I go into the Akashic records. I never know what's coming through, and each time I could write a book about it. It's so amazing, all this information and all these insights that come through. So for my mom, I made sure that she was received well wherever she had to go afterwards, and didn't stay stuck, because that can also happen. Okay, let me tell you this story. That's many, many years ago. I was in Thailand, and we were sitting in the group of people I was with. We just came back. We were in town, and we came back to the hotel, and we were sitting in a van, and it was a traffic jam. So I was leaning with my head to the window, and I'm peeking out what's going on, and I saw that there must have been an accident. It was a body on the ground, and they had covered it. So the moment I see this body, it was just like, this soul from this body came right to the window, but outside the window, it was a vehicle, right? And looking at me saying, "Hey, you can see me. Put me back in my body." I'm like, "Oh, excuse me, dude, you're drunk." I could tell the guy was so pissed. I said, "Whoa." And, it's Thai. I don't even speak Thai, right? I have no idea about this language. And this person didn't really speak English, but I could tell, I knew telepathically what he wanted. He said, "Say, put me back into this body." I said, "It looks like pretty much you're dead, like solid dead, not just like, you're really separated from your body already." And I said, "But go back to your body," because I saw there like light building up, right? I said, "Go back to your body. And I'm sure maybe you can get back into your body." I just wanted him to go back there. Or maybe you just concentrate on that light and see what's happening. So anyway, I saw him go back. I mean, this speed light, right? Back on his body, and jumping up and down like in a cartoon, jumping up and down on his body, trying to get in. And I thought, am I dreaming? I mean, who else can see this? But obviously, he didn't succeed to get into his body. But this light activation around him got so more intense and more intense and more intense. And I just sent him my thoughts saying, "Hey, let go, let go, let go." And go with the light, go with the light. And eventually, it got so intense with the light activation there. And then he was gone. But I thought, okay, this is the moment that some could get stuck because they refuse the light, they refuse to leave the body, they just stick around the body, and once the body is cremated or buried or whatever, stick around, right? And are lost. They don't know what the heck is going on. They just know they don't have a body anymore.
You mentioned that, he had a completely different language and you have yours. Given that you work with people and they all have their own cultural backgrounds and loved ones with their own languages, I'm sure, do you ever encounter situations where you don't understand the spirits, or because it's telepathic, you are able to communicate regardless?
Well, it's not really about understanding. Sometimes I'm at the point like, okay, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do here in this situation. So I call in my team. I say, "Hey, okay, I need help here. What needs to be done?" So spirit is always knows what to do. So yeah, if there is a moment that my little mind has no idea how to move on, I just ask my team. And telepathically, yes, a lot of things can happen. And sometimes, as I said, sometimes it's just like, whoa, okay, I have no clue. That's new to me. I don't know. So I'm delegating. And my team is huge. I mean, I have, whatever is the case, somebody knows always what's the next move and the next step.
How many are on your team, or do they just come in and out? I'm so curious about these.
It's an
Like
army.
these. Oh my goodness.
Well, I have my main ones, right, that I mainly work with, but they also can delegate. It's like humanity, or one human can be so complex that there are situations of all sorts. So whatever there is, it can be delegated, and somebody called in who knows about it, and then we can move on.
When did you first start knowingly connecting with your spirit team?
Oh my. Okay, hang on. I always look at my son's age. He's now 28. And I think I consciously started opening up again when he was about 3. So was it 25 years ago? Kind of. Yeah.
I was just curious. You said that you can telepathically communicate. Can a quote unquote normal person do that with their spirit guides?
I am sure that all can be learned. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's not just about the learning, it's also about trusting yourself. When I hear others saying, "Oh my God, I tried and it doesn't work," it's always okay. So how big is your self doubt? If that thing is around, then you have a hard time. But if your self doubt is dealt with, and you're really open minded and curious like a little kid, and trust in yourself and in your abilities and all, then it's much easier. And also trusting the intuition, that's a big thing, right? So many people get a nudge and they think, no, no, and later think, oh, why didn't I do that or listen to this? I knew better. So it's also a training of intuition.
Now, you offer a journey of reclaiming your soul power. Can you tell us more about what that entails?
Yes, I have 3 different kind of packages, and that one we go in, and on the first session that we have together, we first establish how much of your soul is here. So many people are walking around with maybe 45% soul, 50, 60, 70, 70 max. There is almost nobody that walks around with 100% soul. And the reason why is each time you go through a traumatic experience, or you go through extreme accidents, or something that shocked you, you're losing fragments or parts of your soul for self protection. Now, they don't come back on their own anymore, they stay in safety. And depending how your biography was, depending what you all went through, then you have, like, I worked with the one client I have now in that program. We started with 58% soul that was present. And when we retrieve soul fragments, we don't want to retrieve all the missing percentage at once, because that can just fry your nervous system. So I go in and I go and find out where was it lost, and we retrieve it properly. And the body needs like integration time, that it comes back like in a gentle manner and in a gentle way, that this person can live with this. And you also feel more grounded and so much, how shall I say, better in your whole being and in your mental and emotional health, the more soul fragments that come back. So with her, I have now 1 session left, and we are now by 99% soul that came back gradually. And she feels fabulous, and it's so beautiful to witness how this soul comes home, and how life can change for this person on all levels, on everything that life is about. And it is important to get these soul fragments back slowly, 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 to not fry the nervous system. And also, I teach people how shall I say, when I work with people, when people sign up for my programs, they're actually becoming their own healer. Whatever I guide them through, they learn to do for themselves. so that at the end they have so many tools that they can choose from for themselves, but of course eventually also for their family, or if they want to work with this professionally, eventually they could even do that.
The programs you offer, are those sequential, or are they can be done individually and kind of stand alone?
They could actually they could actually be done individually, but it makes sense to make them all, because I first started with the first program as the Blossom into Feminine Awesome, which I work mainly with women to heal the womb space. We all went through trauma. I mean, so much sexual abuse out there. So we really go in and heal all of that. Then the second package is the one where we go in and retrieve the souls. And the third package is where we really go down into the shadow aspect. Not only your own shadow, but also go in and see, hey, do you have some entities in your energy fields? Do you have some ugly stuff, some things that people don't talk about, but still is a thing? And then we go in and liberate that, or do whatever has to be done, that the person is really 100% him or herself and has no tenants that don't pay rent.
Those moochers, meta moochers.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you say that your 100% soul is back, that kind of thing, I think of like your higher self, right? Is that something that, I mean, as humans, we can't really fully be in our higher self because we're in these meat suits, right? So how do we?
I am really meaning the soul. The higher self is again another concept, right?
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand the difference with like connecting with the higher self and your soul. What is the difference?
As far as I understand it, you have your higher self, your middle self, and your lower self that you can work with on a psychological and emotional and mental level, versus the soul. If you go through hardship from a shamanic point of view, you're losing the soul parts. Like also, if you die, it can be what I've witnessed just a few days ago, that when a soul dies that is not 100% complete, she might be able to go and retrieve those soul parts, if that has never been done during lifetime. Before they move on into bliss, they go and wherever those soul parts are stuck, go and get them back together and move on. I have witnessed this the first time a few days ago, so I'm I'm still marveling that that is a thing. I didn't know myself till a few days ago. So as I said before, I'm still learning with each client or each experience I'm having. I'm like, wow, that's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So for me, the higher self and the middle self and the lower self is a concept that comes from psychology.
Yeah, I love that on your journey, you have gone to different parts of the world and researched different backgrounds of different ideas. It's not just one, and you've kind of put it all together in this intuitive way that is helping people, but specifically women, through a very difficult part of their journey.
Yeah, because I noticed working with women that the more trauma is stored in their system, and mostly that is in the nervous system, the more they go through menopausal shit show, let's call it by the name that it is, right? So
A menopausal shit show.
yeah.
That's your next book.
So that's why that woke me kind of up, and I'm like, oh, hang on. So the more trauma we release, the less hot flashes, or the less God knows what symptoms can come along. And I thought, oh wow, that is. I discovered something cool. Then I went on ChatGPT and I realized, oh no, that's a known thing. That is nothing new, right? So, but I didn't know about it. I have never been in menopause before, so I'm also learning, right? And it's amazing. It's amazing. I just love it. What, like these 3 programs, they came about observing what's happening with a human being when we do this, right? How they can blossom in their absolute gorgeous personal cherry blossom, right? To have a fabulous life, because so many things are no longer here that unconsciously or subconsciously, or because it has been put under the rug, is killing energy or is nagging on some cells or is working on your emotional or mental level and so forth. So, yeah, I created these 3 programs because I thought, wow, this is a different approach than going to see a doctor who gives you an injection or gives you a pill or says, oh, you are 40, you need antidepressants, that's normal. I mean, huh? Seriously, I heard that from a lady. I'm like, my God, this is just horrible, horrible, horrible. So, whoever is open to an approach like that has a huge, huge beautiful gift basket, right, to enjoy. And people who want to go the doctor way, they go and see their physician and take whatever medication they want to take, right? Everybody has a choice.
Now, speaking of choices, you also offer the soul spas, which
Yes.
I'm really curious about that. What does that look like?
So that is free. I offer that once a month, and it all depends on who is attending. So I tune in, I go into my Akashic records. I cannot go in and open the Akashic records from God knows so many people. So I go into my Akashic records, and my team checks out everybody who is attending and then gives me through what it is that this group of people need right now. And I guide them through a healing journey. So the least that can happen is you're getting super relaxed, or you're coming in a super good mood, or whatever. And the best that can happen is that you had an issue that no longer is an issue afterwards.
Have you ever been given a message from your spirit guide team or from within the Akashic records that you don't necessarily want to relay, whether it be because it's very emotional or difficult to express to somebody else?
There is a case where she asked me if I see in her future that she has more children. And I saw that her, how shall I say, the picture that I was given to me was her and a girl, but I didn't see her boy. So I didn't say that. I didn't know what it means. So this boy died a year ago. And in the meantime, she gave birth to a girl. And I'm just like, right now I'm having goosebumps. So I'm just like, there's certain information that I'm like, I don't know, I'm not going to say it because it might create all sorts of things that is not even necessary.
Would your team maybe just advise against something like that? Would you, I guess, in those situations, maybe that's something you would ask, be like, is this something that they should know right now?
I might be given an information, but if I don't feel right with it, it's still, I go after my gut feeling as well, right? So,
Sure. Hmm.
yeah.
What is your process of going into the Akashic records? Like, what does that look like to you?
Okay, so I mean, there are so many ways. Like, a lot of people talk about those famous books, the library, everybody has a book in there. And if you go that way, then what you will receive is information. Now, I want to have more than just information. I want to know what to do with this information. So that's why if I would open your Akashic records, I would also invite your spiritual team that tell me what to do with this information, or guide us on whatever needs to be done for that client. So my approach is pretty simple. I have my team, I go and open my records. Then the person I work with has to give their consent that I do open their records. And I always say, whoever from the spiritual team, from that person or loved ones who wants to be there or has some input or some guidance, I invite them as well. And very often loved ones come through because they are, the spiritual world is very funny. They love to laugh. And there's so much laughter and love. So when somebody has the Akashic records opened for the first time, very often a lot of loved ones are around with so much gratitude and love to be able to connect with that person. So I open it up like, the stage is open for whoever wants to come through, besides the information that I want to get for this client according to whatever question they're having.
Is there any specific process that you have to do for yourself to get into the space to be able to access the Akashic record and the spiritual realm in that way?
Well, I mean, it helps if you are quiet, if you are doing some breath work first or some meditation, But even if I would run through the door and sit down, I can still connect, right? But it is better for myself as well to do, calm down. And yeah, I don't even know how to explain an exact process. Like I connect to my team, I open my records, I open their records. Yeah, this is the way how I do it.
I love hearing about it just because we have had different people we've come along the journey of the podcast that like you said there's different ways to access the Akashic record and how people go into it. So I'm always fascinated by how each individual approaches it because for me my mind can't even wrap around the idea of the Akashic record because
It is
that
huge.
yeah,
It's huge.
I hear it and it's so fascinating and intriguing, but it definitely, I'm just like, how do you do
The
it?
nice thing is as well that you can create your signature way, like for a while, or still now, but when it feels like the correct way. When I'm in the Akashic records, like I do not work with the books. I that's not my thing. But there is also a room for everyone. So I go to the door with the name Ashley, and I open that door and I look what's in that room, and that tells me so much about your life or your situation or what it is that you are in. And when we go into that room and we tidy it up, because mostly it needs to be tidied up, a significant change happens as well in the human. So that is also an approach that I haven't heard anybody else doing. Maybe it does exist, I don't know. But it has been shown to me that everybody has a room, not just a book, So
And it sounds like we have to clean our rooms even in the spiritual realm.
there's a lot of cobwebs.
All I can picture when you say like the name is on the door of like the people that have had so many lifetimes and just like glistening names of all their different names and symbols on
Well,
this
that would
door.
be in that room with Ashley Lunar Goddess on it. In that room, you have all your lifetimes in it as well. It's not like you have a room per lifetime. This is your room, and all your lifetimes are in there. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a
That's
lot. It's like,
amazing. Do you ever just get caught up in your own room, like looking at all of your lifetimes and all of your moments?
I just looked at one lifetime a few days ago, and I was so curious. I put all these details I get into ChatGPT. I thought, okay, I want to know, did this Maharani really live once? You know, and it's just crazy. It's seriously, I cannot pronounce her name, but 17, okay, I would need to pull it up, but I was, also, how shall I say? For me, it was just like actually a joke. Let's put it in ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. And then first I only put in half the information, and he came up with something, and I thought, that doesn't resonate to me. And I put in more information, and then he says, okay, with all this information you gave me now, there is only one Maharani that is the match. And then he told me about her life, and I thought, wow, that is so cool.
I love that you're using Chat
Yes,
GPT to validate and work
yes,
with the metaphysical because
I
so
know.
many times people think that technology and the metaphysical have to be separate. And I love that it's like, no, it doesn't. They can actually help each other.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because, I don't want to spend a week in there for all the details, right? So in this case, I received a lot of interesting information, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. And then when I put it in ChatGPT, he spit me out a lot of more details that I would have needed to spend more time in my chamber there. So for me, it was more like a game also to say, hey, was it accurate? I mean, excuse me, spirit. Sorry. I know it was always accurate, but yeah. But it's just like sometimes you want to be earthly.
Like a little bit of validation just in case.
Yeah, there's no harm in double checking. I mean, come on.
Right, double check, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and also you can learn more about yourself in this space, right? From that, because
Yeah.
that's part of it, right? Just knowing your past lives to influence this lifetime, and if you can do it, I don't know what you take from it from Chat GPT, like maybe specific things about the life that person that you lived back then. I don't know.
One thing that I thought, wow, at the end, I checked, okay, how old was I when I died in that lifetime? It was 69. So ChatGPT, if I look at the years, it's 70. So I'm like, how cool is that? How it's so accurate.
I just love the apology to the spirit guide team. I'm so sorry. Just kidding. You're right.
Yeah, I never doubt them, because what comes through, it's so hands-on, cool, and amazing. And I don't have enough words for it. So that's why I'm saying, each time I go into the Akashic records for a person, I could write books after, because it's mind blowing what's coming through.
Chat GPT is a part of your spirit guide team. That's what you don't realize.
Ah, who knows? I have to go in and check that one out.
Now, speaking of your spirit guide team and what it's comprised of, do you have different types of like entities and beings, or is it all just spirits of people that had once lived?
No, I have all sorts.
Yeah, I actually listened to a podcast that you had on that where you talking about some dragons and things as well.
Now, the dragons are a big part, but they're not the only ones.
Now, you said dragons is in multiple. You have multiple dragons?
Yes. But what I think it's beautiful is also, from all the lifetimes where I had a life, I have a team that comes with me. Like, I have old Egyptians, right? I have from old India. I have from old Asia. I have from the future. I have all these beings and other beings that you cannot name, because how do you explain that? So the 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 wisdom that comes together with all of them is just like fabulous.
Be just thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just have so many things.
I'm looking at three guys that will ponder.
There's just so much to get into, and there's so many things that because obviously in that space, time doesn't really matter, and so it's hard to connect with that in this human mind, right? To be able to not only, because you're saying you're connecting with entities from the future as well, and how they can help you in this time where in our small existence. And what that means is it's kind of like almost like gives us I don't know about hope, but like it makes you feel good because it's important. It just adds to it, like our lives here, even though they're so short, and they matter because it is a big team that's helping you from all walks of life and death.
Absolutely. And even if we think, hey, this life is short, I'm a single person, what can I do, what can I change, certain things, every life matters, right? So all depends on your own perspective, or your own, like, if you are in victim mode, you're giving up, right? It's like, oh, it's happening to me anyway. But if you shift from victim mode into, hey, I'm here for a reason, it's no coincidence that reincarnation dropped me down here. So what is it that I'm here, that I volunteered to come here to accomplish something? What is that? And then be in that energy to fulfill something, no matter what it is. Maybe you're supposed to be the best cookie maker on the planet, so go make your cookies.
I like
Maybe,
cookies.
yeah. It doesn't need to be something enormously, something huge. It can be something small, but be good at it, because that's why you came.
And I think that's why, at least myself, just trying to find that purpose, find that reason. I think a lot of people that I've run into, that's I mean, there's stories about it in all the movies that we watch. People always trying to find their purpose and their want versus their need, and what is it that actually is going to help them have a successful life, that's going to be enriching, and that's going to, be what they need. And so,
It's what sets your soul on fire.
Absolutely. Because you know what happens to a person that has no purpose? Doesn't go long, and they find themselves in a depression. They are, they feel useless, or they feel not needed, not wanted, not I don't know what. And that is a shitty circumstance to be in. So finding the purpose, and in the beginning, it's maybe just a little. The purpose can change. In the beginning, maybe it's a little purpose, and then the purpose get different or bigger or whatever, and then eventually realize, there, I got caught fire. That's my thing. That's what I live for. But in the beginning, you're like, oh, I don't know, right and left and back and forth. So just go out and experiment, or you want to book a call with me, and we go in and find out what it is.
Now, how do people book a call with you?
Oh, okay. You can go on my website, which is still a little construction site. I don't know if you've noticed. Things are being changed. But
I
I'm
think it's
working on-
still a really great site.
Okay, thank you. So you could actually go there and book a free call in the beginning. I have free calls, 20 or 30 minutes free calls. You can book with me. You can drop me an email. You find my email on my website as well. Or if you want to go on Facebook, Tamoah Burton, I'm pretty much the only one on the planet with that name. You should be able to find me on Facebook and contact me there. Yeah, those are the ways.
And for our listeners, a reminder, the website is soulcompact.com. We'll also publish that when the episode releases. So you've been lifelong with your gifts. I mean, you started young with the, nature alchemy, and you've evolved into this like expansion of your gifts. And through all of the growth that you've experienced with your metaphysical gifts, but also the research that you've done into the different healing modalities, do you find that sometimes as your gifts open, you are overwhelmed with the amount of energy and information?
I am overwhelmed when I am in crowds of people and I see and feel the misery, the unhappiness, or I don't know how to call it. So that's why I don't really like crowds. And if I do go into crowds, I really have to shut off my channels to, not perceive, because it's I had a hard time to be able to just walk past by someone, looking at him or her thinking, oh my God, that's and that's and that and that is your issue, and not just throw some energy healing at them while passing. And I'm like, maybe they don't even want to be healed. So I really have to shoot myself. That is what used to overwhelm me. But when I work with the spiritual team, no, because I can delegate, right? When I feel like, hey, this is too much information, or this is, I can handle this, then I delegate. I say, please take care of this.
Do you have any recommendations for people that are awakening into their gifts, or who have suppressed and want to reconnect with their spiritual aspects within themselves?
I would say the first thing is trust what you feel. Not don't put it to the side thinking, oh, I'm going crazy now. Really trust what you feel, and speak to yourself. Like we all have our thoughts. There's so much going on between our two ears. And very often those thoughts are not very positive about ourselves, right? So your whole system is listening to that nonsense up there and maybe even believing it. So speak to yourself. Say, oh, I feel this. Oh, what does that mean? Please give me more information, right? And then the moment that you speak to yourself, it's actually nothing else but you're speaking into your energy fields, into your system, to your spiritual people that are there, and they maybe think, finally, there she is, or there he is. Something is moving, a spark is there. So, and if you don't know how to handle it, just talk to them, talk to yourself first. Think, okay, I don't know how to handle this. What does that mean? Please give me a sign, or please explain better. And just be open to receive the answers. Or you book a call with me.
Or book a call at soulcompact.com.
Exactly.
I love it. This has been so fantastic, Tamoah, and I absolutely love your vibe and everything about you. You're fantastic.
Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome. Do we have any final thoughts or questions before we start to wrap the episode up?
I would say that there is so much more than the physical eyes can see. And there's so many people out there that say, I don't believe what I cannot see with these eyes. But believe me, we only see the tip of the iceberg. Underneath the water is so much more that can be perceived, and that is good for you. So don't be blind. Don't walk through life blindly. Open your inner eyes as well.
I just want to say thank you for coming on. Like it's been every time we have somebody that talks about the metaphysical, like I learn something new, and it's great and it's wonderful, and it's always from a place of just super just passion and light and love, and there's just so much, just you can tell that just you're just radiating with it. And I love to talk with people that are out here in this world that's awful to help, because there's a lot of people that are struggling these days, and they need that. They need people like yourself to guide them when they're lost so that they can see.
Absolutely. And when I was at I say this, Rockham, no,
Rock bottom.
Rock bottom. When I was at rock bottom, and to be honest, I begged my husband to kill me. Seriously, and that's no joke, because I didn't know what was my purpose, because there was a time when I moved over to Canada where I thought, oh, despite all the knowledge that I have, despite all the team that I have, when you lock yourself up, they can't reach you. And I seriously was in such a bad place that I thought, okay, what's the point of all this? So when I see people out there that are on rock bottom, just know that there is a way out. There is a reason why you're here. And it can be extremely difficult to get out of it on your own. And I almost didn't get out of it on my own, because I know how difficult it is. And when you don't see the light at the end, you just are surrounded by this darkness. Well, in my case, it was also an attack, which we didn't talk about, darker stuff. But once I realized what is really going on, then I could get rid of it, or let's say transform, whatever I had to do. But how many people out there are surrounded by darkness that is not even their own, and they do not know how to get out of it or through it because they don't have the knowledge. And how important it is for these people to have someone to help them to get out of the claws of this bullshit. I don't know how else I should call it.
No, I love it. That perfectly sums it up.
So even that experience I had to go through to know what these people are talking about when they are in their darkness, right? So
Right.
I hope universe has now given me all the lessons. I had enough for a lifetime. I'm okay. I'm good now.
I mean, the lessons have shaped you to be the human cherry blossom that
Yes.
you are.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. John Thomas, do you have anything?
I just want to say thank you. I agree with Ashley and BJ. Your vibe and your energy is just absolutely fantastic. And I know that this episode will reach whoever it needs to reach.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was beautiful.
All right, BJ Segura, would you like to bring us home?
Yes, absolutely. Again, everybody, just please tune in, listen, even if, I don't know, just enjoy what we have for you guys, because a lot of this stuff is just so touching for so many reasons. And maybe, like John was saying, that some people just today they tune in, this is what they needed to hear. And it's not just it is horror, it is fun, but it is also healing. So come take a journey with all of us. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your hosts. I'm BJ Saura.
I'm Ashley Lunar Goddess.
I'm John Thomas.
If you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all our social media. You do not want to miss our amazing guests like Tamoah.
Also, don't forget to check out 3hauntedpodcast.com, where you'll find all of our past and current season episodes, as well as guest information and all kinds of 3 Haunted awesome merch.
Until next time.